Hey, welcome back. Happy Sunday. It is beautiful out, so I figured I'd take the opportunity to talk to y'all on my way back from my favorite Sunday stop, Pocono Mountain Firearms. So I went in there and picked up lower receiver and some pistol ammo, right? Apparently, round 2 of the panic buying has started. Apparently they were backed way up on background checks. Lo and behold, I went right through. Hey, I'll take it. Don't bust my chops for drinking Diet Pepsi. Regular's too sweet. Some observations. Sorry, there's a little dog with its head hanging out the window, and it was cute. You had to see it. So we dealt with Corona. Now we're on to looting and rioting. All the big cities. New York, Philadelphia, DC, LA, Minneapolis, obviously. Prior to that, during the whole Corona scare, we had people from New York and New Jersey trying to buy houses sight unseen here in Pennsylvania. Be curious how my image stabilization works on this. Sight unseen people trying to buy houses. You got to get the hell out of the city. I would venture a guess that after the last few days of looting, pillaging, plundering, rioting, and all that other jazz that's going on, we're going to have round 2 of that here in Eastern Poconos. The problem with that is twofold. So I don't care if you want to come here. Most of the regular full-time residents of the area don't either. And become a part of the community, you know. But when you come here out of the city, or even the suburbs, because there's a lot of suburbanites that just decide to take a step further away too. And you decide to bring your citified ways with you. That's where the problem starts. The vacationers, everybody hates the vacationers. They descended on the area back during the Corona apocalypse and acted like a bunch of entitled locusts. Basically cleaned out the stores of everything, from like toilet paper to ammunition. A lot of them do have in-state licenses, so they can do things like buy firearms and ammunition in the state of Pennsylvania. Those are the people that everybody hates, right? The ones that come here, act like fools, and go home and leave everybody else clean up their mess. Trash on the side of the road you wouldn't believe. Anyway, I digress. Folks that move in from the cities and the suburbs to get away from things like looting and rioting and crammed spaces with Corona, be it as bad as they said or not. Take your pick. We're not getting into that. And decide they want to live the life of the way things are out here, or the way things were when I got here. No problem, right? You're not going to complain that I'm running a weed whacker at 10 o'clock on a Sunday morning because, well, it's my day off and I need to, trim down the weeds in the grass. Or you're not going to complain that the smoke from my fire pit bothers your asthma. Well, you're not going to come out here and change rural, semi-rural at this point, semi-rural America into New York City, Jersey City, Philadelphia, take your pick, by voting in the same problems and processes that ruined the city that you just left to get away from that in. I think I said that the way I wanted to. Somebody will tap me downstairs in the comments and be like, nah, dude, you meant this. We'll see. Anyway, there's no looting and rioting going on where I live. It's kind of spread out for that. People are fairly well armed. There's no looting and rioting going on where I live, because generally law enforcement doesn't have that city mentality, if you will. It's a lot easier to weed out the douchebags. So if you're stuck in one of those areas where there's looting and rioting, like New York City, I feel pity for you. Because looting and rioting just took the argument from being in the favor of the people who were peacefully protesting the death of George Floyd. For the record, the way the Minneapolis Police Department dispersed the people that were peaceably protesting, that should tell you a whole lot about that city's government right there. From what I gather, that's what led to the looting and rioting. However, when you were peaceably protesting, you had my attention. You had America's attention in a good way. You were winning the argument. Hands down, no questions asked. Anybody who debated what happened in Minneapolis after seeing that video is either blind or just ignorant. But when you change from peaceably protesting to burning your damn city down, you lose the moral high ground. And it goes from, holy shit, this is a tragedy, this is murder, this is a terrible thing, to, we told you so. Look, it's always about looting and rioting. I don't necessarily believe it's always about looting and rioting. I do believe you have some agents provocateur that were mixed in with protesters that said, here's our chance, and did what they did, and then turned cities into battlegrounds. We don't have that problem here. Just saying. Your car's on fire, or it will be. We don't have that problem here because, well, people aren't stacked on top of each other. Things are spread out, and a well-armed population is a polite population. What have you noticed about the cities where they're rioting and looting and burning things to the ground? Police are nowhere to be found. In Minneapolis, they were hiding in the precinct house, trying to keep that from burning down. Didn't work out too well, so the mayor pulled the cops out. From what I saw in LA last night, that didn't look like it was doing much better. Neither did Philly. this exit. So where am I going with this? If you go back to the introduction video, I said we were going to talk about the armed prepared citizen. What those new news broadcasts, now I'm stepping on my tongue, right? What those new twice. What those news broadcasts should tell you is that nobody's responsible for your safety but you. That means if you get stuck in a situation like that, you better be able to get out of it. On your own. If you're relying on the big city police to protect you, I think you're mistaken. Now you can bust my chops for drinking Diet Pepsi and smoking. If you're relying on the police for help, you're mistaken. Because they didn't do a damn thing but let those people loot, riot, pillage, and plunder. And that's a shame. Businesses and livelihoods were destroyed. Saw a couple in Minneapolis. Dude put his life savings into a sports bar. Done, gone. See you later. It's a black couple too. So kind of throws your racism argument out the window. Right there. That dude could have been anybody just like George Floyd. Like he was late 30s, early 40s. Dude that put his life's work into that bar that he just opened. Somebody burned it down. Wonder who's old enough to remember back during the LA riots over the Rodney King thing. When the Koreans in LA said, nope, we're over this, and they armed up and protected their own business. Where was the LAPD? They were freaking hiding behind their patrol cars, hoping not to be the next one that got it. They took responsibility for their own protection. I would encourage you to do the same. I won't be pulled out of my truck at an intersection just because I look a certain way. And you're going to assume because of the way I look, I think a certain way. Or you're just going to make a victim out of me because of how I look. It's not going to happen. I would encourage everyone watching this to be of the same mindset. Be able to defend yourself. Be prepared to defend yourself. Have the mindset that you may have to defend yourself. Now, I'd stop at the car wash right now, but all the trees exploded all at once. And there's still a big tree-gasm of puking pollen all over my truck. So I'm just going to hit it with the hose when I get home. So if you don't know your local laws on self-defense and what you can or can't own in the way of weapons for self-defense, I suggest you learn them and plan accordingly. I suggest you familiarize yourself with any of those weapons that you may or may not want to use for self-defense, because the time to use them is coming. I don't believe what we're seeing is a one-off, and it'll just peter out and go away when the rioters lose their focus on destruction. I think you're going to see this escalate through the summer, continue right on through the fall, definitely through the election. Depending on who wins, hold on to your hats. So I would suggest that if you live in an area like this, where there's nothing to look at but trees and blue sky, and not a whole lot of people, you use this time to get yourself prepared for when what I think is fairly inevitable does happen. And hey, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Never hurts to be prepared for the worst and hope for the best. If I'm right, well, then you're prepared for the worst and ready for it when it happens. And if you do live somewhere where it's a bit more people-y, shall we say, maybe you want to think about relocating. And when you do, don't think about how you can make it like where you left. Embrace where you are. Which makes me think of a buddy of mine around the corner. He's a vacationer from the city. And he's like, man, I can't wait to retire out here. It's so quiet, so peaceful. Keep telling him, change your driver's license over. I'll take you to the gun shop with me. And, instead of asking for me to take you to the range and use my stuff, which I don't care, man, these good people, you can have your own. Yeah, I know, damn DMV's closed. Thanks, Corona. Right? There's an example of somebody that wants to embrace where they are rather than make it like where they left. Even his kid's the same way, which blows my mind to find a kid that's 20 years old that embraces the quiet of the woods as opposed to the hubbub and the constant goings-on of city life. Because 20 years old, man, I want to be where it was going on. You don't want to be around that. He said he left New York City. He works up in, I think he said Washington Heights. If you don't know the city, that's right by the GW Bridge. Said you could see the illumination from the fires and smell the smoke. He's like, I got off work last night, put my ass in the car, and away I went. Right now what you got is riots and looting. What that's the makings of is civil war. Problem is I don't really stand with either side at this point. I don't stand with people that want to loot, riot, burn, and pillage. Jesus! Now that's somebody that needs to go back where they came from. Because that was stupid. And dangerous. I don't stand with either side. So figure out where you stand, where you want to be, find a way to get there. Anyway, I've gone on long enough. It's Sunday, it's beautiful out. I'm not going to let that jerk ruin my day, because, well, he'll probably find a tree. And I'm glad he didn't find the side of my truck. Be safe, watch your six. Out for now.